Hello everyone, this is Helheim Unbound, back for the first time in a while with some more Bannerlord Mountain Blade 2. Going to be starting up a new sandbox campaign here. Last time the Aserai build was pretty popular, but there was, I guess, kind of a consensus that just putting up some longer clips of gameplay, let's show everything is good. So I'm going to start over. The game's had a lot of development. I think last time you saw me, we were in beta 1.5.4, might have been 1.5.6. There's been a lot of polishing to the game. Most of the skills are in place since then. There's not a lot of Aserai campaigns out there. So I've cooked up a little bit of a backstory here, and we will get back into gaming. Thanks everybody for your patience with the time between the videos. I was a little bit burned out on Bannerlord with all the changes, and then life got busy with work and life and everything else, so it goes, but here I am, and I am back. So let's go ahead and get started here. Aserai. The Aserai are the inhabitants of the Nahasa Desert, a mixture of nomadic Bedouin and settled oasis farmers. They are famous for their horsemanship and their knowledge of the learning of many lands, especially medicine, gained from lying on some of the continent's most lucrative trade routes. Each clan is fiercely proud of its lineage and often jealous of the others, but when united by a charismatic leader, they become a major force in the south. Caravans are 30% cheaper to build. Caravans have gotten quite a bit better, especially the heavily armed caravans. They generally don't mess with them too much anymore, making them a bit less risky. The economy's, I think, been generally rebalanced, so they should still work. And there's also 10% less trade penalties, so just buying and selling things is a little bit cheaper. Went through earlier, did a little bit of pre-generation. So here we are in all of our glorious loincloth-clad magnificence.
Kill them all! Line up! Give way! Take them down! Shields forward!
Okay. And we are set. So, the splintering of the Kalratic Empire has largely brought an end to the squabbling of the Banu Aserai. The great lords wait, preparing to pounce on the rotting carcass lying to our north. But with war comes a shattering of trade, the pillaging of caravans, and the loss of life. Will the great lords sitting behind their high walls protect those of us from less illustrious clans? We are all children of the great Aserai. Of the lords, Emir, Sultan, Unquid has cared the most. Although under his rule true justice has remained elusive, he at least understands that through trade comes prosperity, and from that comes wealth and life. As to me, this is my story. My name is Uthal al-Prax. My parents were merchants, and my family prospered in Quyaz. As a child, numbers came quickly to me, and I was soon at the front counter of my parents' store helping count transactions and make sure that all trades were fair. But soon enough, the years of my childhood came to an end, and I was called to service. As a youngster growing up to war was never too far away, and I rode with the scouts, some of that famed horsemanship, and some of the archery skills. Before I set on my life of adventure, while I was still young and rosy-cheeked and clean-shaven, my biggest achievement was that I led a caravan, following in the arts of trade with my family, taking to the open roads, learning some tactics and leadership. We organized supplies, ensured a constant watch to keep away bandits, and brought us safely to our destination. Lastly, at this point in my journey, I am 30 years old, I am in my prime, but I still have youthful energy with some experience under my belt. So, with the new sandbox mode, what this will get me is 2 unspent focus points, 1 unspent attribute point. You're able to have children and families, so the older you go, if we're 50, you can see here a little bit hunched back, worn down, 6 unspent focus points, 3 unspent attribute points. So you basically get 2 more focus, 1 more attribute for every 10 years, above 20. So here we're a little bit more experienced. And so along the way, I'm going to learn some tricks about the pathfinding and a little bit of physical endurance. That's where I'm going to spend the extra points that we get after we are out of character generation. Settings are realistic across the way, challenging for difficulty, leaving open birth and death, so heroes will age and reproduce, and I'm leaving off the auto-allocate clan member perks because I want to be the one controlling that. So with that, we're going to dive in, pick our family banner. I was thinking about having the scales down here, but for some reason I really just liked the idea of a mace. It's a nice clean logo, part of it's obscured. Yay, my bow still sticks through my shield. And so we're even going to kind of have the Aserai colors here. For this playthrough, I am planning on joining the Aserai. Something may happen. As always, it's a game. We're going to roleplay a bit. But that's the starting idea, is really starting out as a merchant on my own now, and really going to try to focus in on that trade side, building some leadership, getting a force, that kind of thing. And then at some point we'll jump wholly onto the bandwagon of the Aserai and seek to get some lands of our own, which would be a significant social advancement. So here we are outside of our hometown, and I'm going to pan just briefly over the glorious lands of our home. So we move our way west, Sanala, Askar, deep into the deserts along the river, various villages, Quasira, Iakis, Huibar, Razi, and Hussan Folk in the west. So we'll see how things go on our more trade-oriented playthrough, but going to try to play to the strengths of the Aserai as a faction before we really dive in. So we'll see how much money and how quickly I decide to jump into the factional politics. Probably 50 to 100,000 gold is really going to be my target. Early on, going to try to get some money from trading, try to get some better equipment and some basic combat skills through some of the various jousts. And so nothing at the arena here. But as I mentioned, we start out with the extra pips. And so just as a general matter, I don't know what weapon I'm going to go for yet, but I want to be able to get some more skill, so I'm going to drop my attribute point there. And then scouting, physical endurance, and for trade, just going with the background, I do tend to prefer appraiser, getting the sell price penalty for equipment down, because that's where a lot of money comes in later on. But just from a roleplay perspective, it's only 15%, and it fits with my background to be a wholesaler. And lastly, because it fits in with being the Aserai, I'm going to put a pip into medicine. So with that, I'm going to take a quick pause in the recording. This was just the introduction. I'll set this up as episode 0, and then I will be back in a moment with episode 1, where we will start actually playing.